Hello, tribe. This is Valerie White-Williams, and I am the owner and founder of Creative Soul Alignment. Welcome to all our members. We have passed 777 members. Welcome to all of you. You are all so special to me. What I'd like to talk to you in this live stream is comparing yourself to others. This is something that we were all raised to do. I think the school system with grades and how good of scores you can meet, it makes you feel that we have to be like somebody else to be successful. Our parents tell you that you need to be just like me. You need to do it the way your sister did it. This is the way to do things. So most of us grow up without knowing what we feel inside, who we are inside. And we're always compared to other people. It's just kind of the way our toxic world is comparing people and rating them by grades, by competition, who does best, who's the best player, who wins awards. I remember as in middle school going to those award ceremonies for who's the best student and who's this and who does that. And I remember just shaking my head, feeling really disgusted, because pretty much all the kids that were getting those awards were friends with the teachers, and they were jerk-offs in class, and it felt really icky. And so as a young person, you're like, well, what do I have to do to get ahead or get noticed? Do I have to be like them? And so that becomes an exercise that we're looking outside of ourselves to try and be like somebody else, because maybe that worked for them. And that's just a real toxic way to live, especially as an artist. And it's something that's taken me years and years to be okay with that. I'm going to be my way and express my unique self, because our culture doesn't encourage that. It encourages conformity. It encourages following the rules and moving forward, because they feel awkward and it feels weird to stand out. And I know a lot of people, when they stand out, they get made fun of. They get made fun of for wearing funny clothes or talking funny. I know as a child, when I was young, I loved to read books. This was a different era. There wasn't much else to do. And I just read tons of books, and I got teased all the time on the bus because I always had a book. And so people made fun of me, and it kind of hurt, but it's okay. I just work through it. But I feel as an artist, here's the thing. Conformity, it's not about conformity. That's why this group is so important, is we are expressing our inner spirit and allowing what is inside of us out. Now, unfortunately, a lot of us have a lot of shame. That's what's inside of us. It's not our true self. It's the shame that we feel within when we were compared to our brother who got better grades, or compared to the sister who was a great athlete, or we're just always being compared. And so of course that makes us feel like, oh, people are going to like me more if I'm athletic, or they're going to like me more if I wear fashionable clothes. And that's usually a trip to nowhere, because we are not being our true self. So that's why I really like a lot of personality tests. I love astrology. Should do another video on why astrology is so important to me and why I think it really can help everybody. But there's some other really great personality tests too, like the Myers-Briggs, I think is really important. I also am a big fan of Carol Tuttle and her Dressing Your Truth, or she has another term for it. It is energy. So she has 4 sets of energy. So you find out what your true energy is. And another test I really like, it doesn't have a lot of attention. It's the Fabulous test. And I'll try to leave some links in this message. And those are ways for you to really find out who you are. In fact, Sally Hogshead, who developed the Fascination test, said that her name is Hogshead, and it's crazy, and you gotta own a name like that. It stands out. So as an artist, instead of trying to be like someone else and try to figure out what's popular or who's gonna like you if you do this or you do that, the true thing is be yourself and recover your inner joy and find out what makes you different. And my nephew, who is a poet, he had a saying once. He said, sometimes when you look in the mirror and you look at something you think is ugly, that's the thing that makes you beautiful. And how many celebrities have we known that had plastic surgery and they wanted to make their face more uniform, but then they lost that originality and they lost the work because they didn't look like themselves anymore. I think that's a real true thing, is what we find awkward, what we feel is, maybe awkward, unusual, is the thing we need to bring out. We need to bring that out. And it's hard to do in our culture, which likes to throw stones at people that are different. But the truth is that when we allow our inner self out, and sometimes we have to clear a bunch of shame from our experience to allow it out and feel safe, that's when we're going to find our true art form and our true self, and not comparing it to other people. My husband's an artist too, and he does not like to pay attention to what anyone else does. He grew up in a big family. He was mocked and shamed and teased. And so for him, he doesn't want to see what other people are doing. He wants to focus on what he wants to do. And this is a big lesson for artists, because that's how you find your own voice. So I want you to think about that. What makes you feel awkward, what makes you feel isn't good enough, is often what makes you stand out. And I think that happens again and again and again. So I'm gonna look at the comments. Tom, hi Valerie, many don't take music classes because they don't want to look foolish. That is so true. But in voice class, we make a lot of silly sounds, and we have to kind of get out of that comfort zone because we're building a new skill, and you have to be able to look silly so you can move through the silliness and come into the mastery of it. And most people, it takes skill and talent and practice to go forward. It's overcoming that. Yes. Hi, Liz. Thank you so much. We need to encourage individuality in younger people. Absolutely. I think there needs to be way more music and art in schools. In fact, I'm in the opinion that children should mostly be doing art, music, and PE in the younger grades, and allow them to express their bodies, get in coordination. I think athletics is really important, not necessarily the competitive athletics. See, that's the thing. Everything's becoming a competitive thing, and the competition isn't helping us. It can be fun, but it becomes the overriding sense, and just getting comfortable in your body and getting comfortable being creative is really what we'd all be better off doing that when we were young. Let me see. Coming up to full moon. Oh yeah, it's really intense energy right now. It's really crazy, and we're just kind of building up, and we're also getting close to the equinox. So the seasons are changing and things are shifting. So staying balanced and calm is probably our biggest job right now. Let me see what else. Coming to full moon. Val, great topic. Stopping the comparative and rewriting the narrative. Yes, Kelly, so much. Because I think it's toxic. It's really, we live in a toxic culture. And it's, of course, most of us have been raised in public schools where we're compared from the very beginning. And the testing, that's just totally crazy. So it's really hard to turn away from all that, because our culture wants us to be the same. But in truth, we all are all the same, but we also have our unique flavor and our unique ideas, and we need to allow them out. And just, it takes confidence and strength to pursue that, because it's so against culture, which is why this group is so important, is that we can support each other to be expressive, to be creative, to allow our inner voice out, and also to build skill. So that's the other thing. We have to allow that voice out, and then whatever art form that you're working on, it takes practice. Because that's the other thing our culture doesn't validate, because it's all about American Idol and people being famous and all the, I'm sorry, I'll start swearing. I'm going to try not to do that. But it's not about being discovered and famous. It's about working on your craft. The great artists worked hard. And I talked in another video, I can't remember which one, because I do YouTube too, that the great artists like Michelangelo, they didn't just buy a bunch of paints and start painting. They studied with another teacher. In those days, it was the apprenticeship model. You apprentice with a master, and then you learned how to do the artwork under their watchful eye, and then you became a journeyman, and then you became a master. So this whole idea that you just were born with it isn't really true. And yes, people do have certain skills that they bring from this life, or they bring from the family of origin, but we all have the capability to learn things. And sometimes the people that are the most awkward and they think they can't draw or they can't sing, they just need a skillful teacher to break it down, because that's what a good teacher does. They break it down so you can learn it step by step and then you practice it. But the truth is to let the inside out, let your inner spirit out. And when you come up with shame, which we all do, like, oh, that's stupid, no one's gonna like it, it's ugly, I'm ugly, whatever, we have to like be the adult inside and say, you know what? Where did I hear that message? Who told me that? Is it true? Why did they say that? So you have to kind of take a look at those old tapes that you have and re-look at them from the adult version and realize, yeah, I was told these things, but they weren't true, because those people either didn't know what they were talking about, had an agenda, or they're trying to control me. Like even as a child in a classroom, you had a lot of energy, you couldn't sit still, you're told that you were a problem. There's no problem. All children have a lot of energy. No children should be sitting at desks for 6 hours. So it's just about letting go of some of those old stories and allowing what makes you special and makes you magic, because we are all magical creatures. We all are. And guess what? The world needs all of us. We are at a crisis point, and the more we can be bringers of the light and bringers of creativity and sharing our inner gifts, guess what? We're all gonna work together to build a greater world. And that's why I love this group so much. All right, kind of rambly today, but I love you guys, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye, thanks for listening.